I wanted to let people know that just late last night, a law group called the Papa's Law Group got a federal hearing scheduled for March 26th, which is huge because many law firms have been trying to get district federal judges to call a hearing, but have not been successful. They've just been dismissed. They haven't gotten their moment to articulate and present their arguments of why the feds should sort of have some type of injunction or something of that nature to prevent these closure letters. This group has an interesting perspective, and I hope one thing I'd like to do today is get everybody's email so that I can send, and if I already have your email then don't worry about it, but I'd like to create a little Google group of folks that come to these meetings so that I can send you the actual briefing of it. But basically where they're coming from is very interesting. They filed a suit saying that we have an unconstitutional closure of these clubs based on the fact that the District of Columbia, which is, you know, Washington, D.C., hold on.
Can you bring that pen?
I
do. The District of Columbia, which is a congressional district, Congress allowed the patients of that district to vote in medical cannabis, and it's being respected. So it's unconstitutional if you have one group of people or one region that's allowed a right and voted in a right to not allow that in other districts. So in the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., the Congress folks were like, yeah, we want to be able to go to a dispensary.
And Maryland.
Yeah, it's the District of Columbia in specific, though, that they base the case on. So this may be a really interesting case, and it's starting March 26th. I think we should all keep our eyes on it. It's not too far away. It's in Mesa? Mesa.
California, yeah.
Exactly, Orange County, which is very conservative, and a federal judge found the argument sound enough that he called a hearing. We've had several other groups of lawyers attempt it in many other ways in really liberal districts like our district, Santa Cruz, etc. All those got thrown out, they got dismissed, they wouldn't even consider their arguments because they were based on, President Obama didn't live up to his standards. Oh, well, you gave permission to WHAM, which is a Women's Alliance for Medical Marijuana, but you're closing down cannabis stores. Well, there's a huge difference between WHAM, which served people in a more communal way and more community-based way, than an actual commercial retail storefront. So the prior case was based on, look, you're being unfair, but the feds basically left Val Corral alone because they got it. She was serving, extremely ill people. She was not having a dispensary. My take on that is, are dispensaries needed? Yes, they are. Commercial level safe access is needed. It's necessary. There's thousands upon thousands, if not millions, of patients in America now with 16 medical cannabis states.
Millions.
Millions, definitely. It's not like Access of Love could open our doors and say, okay, don't worry about it, guys. Everybody's closed down, but, come on down. Everything's good. That's not the way it's going to evolve. I want just briefly to mention my complete outrage on the upcoming task force agenda, that the veterans letter was removed from the agenda, and Brent Salpe will be here at 4:30, and when the task force member Brent Salpe gets here, we'll do what's called a special order. We'll drop everything and we'll allow his presentation. But basically they took off, Stephanie Tucker is the next chair, and she took off the veterans letter, and she took off emergency safe access plans for patients. Parliament generally works this way. You have to vote to table an item. The chair doesn't just get to go, well, that's not on my radar. And the whole reason why we have rotating chairs at the task force level was because of industry trying to dominate the agenda and push off anything that supported patients' rights. And the industry cannibalizing the patient movement is about the stupidest thing they could do right now. I'd really like to ask everyone, not just veterans, but everybody that loves a veteran, to stand up for our Veterans Committee, which has been meeting this whole year. They've constructed a letter, and we've read it once into public record, and it got taken off, and I just hope Friday's meeting, members of the public who are concerned about veterans and are concerned about emergency safe access plans if all the dispensaries, let's say, get closed by this summer. If that's a concern of yours, making sure that people with AIDS, people that are in hospices, etc., we have some plan for emergency. Then I'm just going to go briefly over the agenda and ask for a motion to approve so that we can get into it. Task force was commissioned by Tom Amiano's office to look over the bill that he introduced, which is 2312. Everybody should know those signatures really well by Friday. AB 2312. And I was on a legal subcommittee, and what Tom Amiano's office asked us to do was come up with some amendments.
I'm a cancer patient, and I'm also a psych patient. Now, when I do marijuana daily as a medicine, I don't have to take Seroquel.
Nice.
And when I'm not doing it, they've got me on 600 milligrams of Seroquel, trying to turn me into a zombie. You know,
I understand.
when I'm medicated, I can articulate.
Very well.
I can speak, you know, and I can present my case. But there's a lot of experience out there. Those kids out there are compassionate. A lot of people don't realize that.
Oh, I know.
Within our family, we try to take care of each other because for some reason we can't get to the dispensaries, you know. But it's expensive out there. People ought to know that people like me on a fixed income, once my rent's paid, the rest goes to medicine. I got to stand in food lines to eat, you know, because I spend all my money on medication.
And that's outrageous. And James, once again, I'm going to make a formal request for you to turn in a bio for the Veterans Committee. I think you really articulate very well, you know, a veteran's concerns about access to medical cannabis. So I just want to encourage you with that again. I want to stop on the definition and give the floor to Brent Salpe, and then we can go back into AB 2312, but I'd like to hear Brent give a little bit, let's take a good 20 minutes. It's 5 to 5. So let's take a good 20 minutes to hear kind of your concepts of emergency safe access and why you had put it on the agenda last time. We didn't get to it last time because of stupidity. How many people were at the last meeting, task force meeting? Okay. So we all